Guys, it's me, Damar, and I am back for another episode of SipHappens podcast. Joining me is my brilliant co-host, Xtina.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to have you. And just a little bit about Christina, but before we get into that, um, you know the show for those who are frequent sippers. It's a show where I sit and I discuss a lot of stuff, whatever you wish to discuss. So you guys know what to do. Click the download button, the subscribe, share, comment, do what you must. I'm your boy Demar. But next to me is my beautiful partner in crime, Xtina,
Xtina.
like Christina Aguilera.
Oh dear. Yes.
Yes.
I've been told.
So I've known Christina for many moons.
Many moons.
Yes, she is as young as she looks. Trust me. She's just 2 months older than I am, and I'm 28.
Cool.
So she's my work wife. We've worked briefly together, but it seemed like an eternity.
It seems like an eternity, but it was short but so sweet.
Yes, like me. I'm not a short.
We did a lot. We did a lot in a little bit.
Yeah, that's yeah.
We had productions.
Yes.
Drama productions.
We've been places.
Yes.
She's a creative like me. Oh my gosh, you know what we forgot to put up?
What?
Your paintings.
Oh, we can still do that.
Yeah.
When we come back.
Or what you can just do is follow Damar_246 and I'll take some pictures and put them up. Because I usually take pictures of my set. So that's where you can follow and stuff like that. But Christina's an artist.
I know you like the editing thing, so I figure when you edit as well, you
Mhm.
can just edit in some,
How? That means we will go stop or we will go like pause
Yeah.
and then put in.
Well, I leave it to you. I mean,
Okay.
I know you would know what to do. If it's possible.
It could be. Anything is possible here on SipHappens podcast. She's my modeling partner. We did so many things together.
Yes.
You know, my duck out of class partner.
Oh, right. We met
You know,
for a brief time, yeah.
very, very brief. Very,
Yeah.
very, very brief.
And then you have your vlog.
Yes. If you go on my YouTube channel right now, where you can see the podcast, you would see that Christina has been a regular on my Out and About Them vlogs. So yeah, she's my number one, where I'm number two.
Oh,
So that's my friend in a nutshell. A plethora of things is what Xtina is to me.
and we have so much fun together.
All the time. All the
It's a
time.
bond.
This has been a long time coming because we've been trying to do this podcast for like 18,000 years.
Yeah.
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 But we're here.
And I think it came at the right time, actually,
Yes.
in terms of what's happening.
Yes.
A lot is happening.
Very much so. Which brings me to what we will be discussing today, because today will be interesting and heavy. So right now, as of today filming, was it today or was it yesterday? Yesterday was elections. Yeah,
Elections
yesterday was,
2022.
Yes.
Barbados.
some people refer to it as snap elections.
Yes.
But we are going to be having a brief powwow with that. But we want to look at Barbados now becoming a republic. We're going to be talking about Gone with the Queen. We wanted another title. Remember we were playing around with our titles?
Yeah.
But SipHappens, and I don't really want to say
Gone with the Queen.
Yeah, so that's the more
So yeah, that's what we
The more-
want to say.
right now.
That's politically correct.
Correct. Yeah, but if you've ever watched Alice in Wonderland,
Oh yeah.
very good movie.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes,
And you know they're queens in that movie.
they are queens.
And you know what the queens like to do.
Yes, and there's a particular motif that is said all the time. But I don't know if that influenced me to name or wanted to name this podcast that particular name, but we've decided and settled with in good conscience.
You leave it to your imagination.
Yes. You can let us know what you think in the description below, though. What you thought, I think. Well, what I was thinking about when I
What
wanted
you-
to, yeah.
Yeah.
Thought about.
Yeah.
Haven't drunk yet, so I'm not drunk. So today's topic is Gone with the Queen. So we'll be discussing us becoming a republic. We'll be looking at the election period, which just happened yesterday. And we're also going to be looking at Rihanna.
and the rise of all of these females,
Yes.
which is why we even have the image of a female
I bet you didn't notice it came into the shot.
rising in our background, y'all. Okay?
Check the boobies.
More, and listen, we all know nipples was a hot topic.
Oh, mm-hmm. And we found it fitting. Yes.
So fitting. I have to tell you how fitting I found it. When we get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can let you know what I think about that. I think it was actually fully appropriate. And I mean,
Thumbs up
this
for the
looked like
nipples.
that red girl, you know, she looked kind of like her.
Rihanna?
Yeah, and her nipples showing.
Let us know what you think. So let's begin. Let's jump right off the bat. I even have my glasses, but let's sit before we talk. Let's just have a sip. Cheers to the new year. Happy New Year. Cheers. Happy elections. 30-0.
Oh my God, 30-0. You let that slip.
What are we drinking, by the way, before we?
This is natural wine.
Okay.
Yes. So for those of you who like natural wine, you know, you drink it from various fruits, and sometimes you can use herbs.
Okay. So this actually hasn't herbs, like.
Yeah.
What type of herbs? Come on, tell us. Mary?
Was a little
this is going to be one of the best podcasts ever recorded. While not sober. So let's jump right into it, Christina. Let's start with the whole aspect of becoming Republican. Because that's not nothing. Should I say that's not nothing new? But it has been done in the Caribbean. It's the first. It has been in the talks a little bit past. So what does that mean?
Well,
what do you think it means for us here in Barbados?
Well, you just mentioned 30-0. So 30-0 for us means landslide victory. For, of course, Mia Amor Motley or PM to the world. World 2 p.m. world on us, Barbados.
.arc.edu.
Right. And it's interesting because at the same time, that signals us being the newest republic, having our first elections as a republic.
Yeah.
So I think it is definitely significant, very historic, because she has done it twice.
Yeah, that's it, definitely.
So if you thought it was a fluke the first time, which I know some people did, you know, we know some of us did, but it's no fluke. She came back and she did it again.
Two times the charm.
What's interesting in this moment is that there's a lot going on, and all of it is being wielded by feminine energy.
Women.
Yes. No, we don't do male bashing here. We are strong enough feminists to not have to go there.
So in terms of republic and identity, that's a huge thing in terms of identity constructs. We are now reshaping who we are as a Barbadian public, as a Barbadian space within the Caribbean space, wider space. So becoming a republic, how does that challenges the notion of our identity construct? What does that say to us? Do we say that we know who we are by removing the queen, or do we say we do not know who we are by removing the queen or letting the queen
I think it's a bit of both, really, because these things aren't cut and dry. You know, it is a process. And as we know, moving away from colonialism has been a process, and it continues to be a process. Redefining self and identity is a continuous process.
Yes.
So then this is just another step. So for some people, I do believe, like maybe older generations might feel as though they're a bit lost. Like, what does this mean? You know, they've come along their whole lives under the Union Jack, and yes, they may have understood independence, but just people don't really see independence as symbolic. But you'll get scholars throughout Caribbean discourse saying that it was initially and still is to a great extent symbolic. Our independence from England's so-called independence, because we got a flag, we got a prime minister,
we have a national guard,
but everything else about the UK and the crown was left intact. So what we have now is the effort to remove all of the symbols and all of the processes, all of the protocols around the queen, around the monarch.
I asked that question because in terms of identity, you can't take away the bad. Sorry, can't ignore the bad and say, okay, this is things that we want to ignore, we want to silence. I can go all academic on you, where Stuart Hall says, in order for identity to thrive, you must silence something.
Yeah.
If we take away these things in terms of the queen and the structure in which we would have performed while under the queen, is that taken away from who we are? Because that has influenced our identity construct.
It has. Like, we're known as Little England.
Yeah.
For that reason, we are an extension of the mother country in so many ways. That's why I would say we have the privilege of such an orderly and peaceful elections, because that is a replica of British society, at least on the surface, very measured and well behaved and orderly. And you see that going through our society when it comes to these types of
these dues, these events.
Yes, these national procedures.
Because what I was very, very interesting is in finding out is what are we going to now be removing as we move forward as a republic.
Well,
how do we go about saying, okay, take away this, take away that, we don't need this?
Certain things have already been removed. The crown, for example. The literal image of the crown has been removed off the governor general's
like emblems and so on and so forth.
So the flags have been changed. The queen's colors have been replaced. We have our own colors now. Names and labels. The police now is the Barbados Police Service. The governor general's residence is now the State House. So we started to remove the symbols and the labels, which is essentially how many scholars may argue
that
independence started.
And we're pushing back on reimagining or resisting this particular English construct. That's where the beauty in terms of identity and identity constructs comes in as we move towards a republic, because those figureheads have now to decide what it is that we want to take away that has been here for centuries,
but not to take away from the public will also to do our own removal. It's not just up to the leaders to decide. I mean, there's the procedural processes, but then in the public thinking, in our public memory, what are we removing mentally? Like, remember the pressure to have Nelson turn away from Broad Street, then they turned him back, then they kept turning him, and then it was like, oh, we need to get rid of Nelson. And then that was a whole 4 years until our PM decided, okay, it's time to actually move it. But obviously she was timing that well, because here we are now as a republic. So she knew she was starting to remove all of those
that's stripping. So do you think that is it safe to say that we're going through a sanitization period, or is that too strong a word? You guys can let me think what you think about that whole notion of sanitization. Do you think we're going through a sanitization period? Do you think it's too strong of a word to say?
Well,
as becoming republic?
I think there's a traditional school that might feel as though we're being raped and sanitized, and who isn't as open to this idea of removing the queen in all of these forms, what does that leave? Who are we?
Mhm.
But then
That's
there's
very good
the
question.
young generation
Mhm.
who never cared in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's over with. We could relate to icons and personalities that we value, like Rihanna, and that's like the other side, the flip side of all of this. Because in how did we describe it at the beginning of the
podcast?
Yeah,
you mean Gone with the Queen?
Gone with the Queen. The same at the same time we were Gone with the Queen. Here we're elevating one of our own
queens. Yeah.
So the process of going with the Queen actually elevated our own president. She's no longer Governor General. She's our president, Sandra Mason. And then we have a new hero.
Heroine. Yeah.
A heroine. Sorry. Right. So yeah. And that's something that young people can relate to and see themselves in. So that for me is where you start to reconnect and reimagine this image of yourself. Because no, you're not seeing this European figurehead anymore. You're seeing one of your own.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's that, and I would really like to hear what you guys think about what exactly are we going to be removing, because that whole identity construct is heavy. Because who's like the whole idea of representation. I can share with you just briefly. Two prominent persons in Jamaica were calling for the removal or the removal of certain emblems on the coat of arms.
Okay.
The alligator and the indigenous people. The indigenous people represented war, and the alligators they were too faithful or something like that, and they wanted that to move because of representation. They can't see there's no really trace of the alligator or crocodile, whichever one, in Jamaica anymore. So in terms of that, people are once persons cannot see a representation, then it has particular problems when it comes to identity construct. Obviously, we are not white, but we have the Queen as the figurehead. Now that we are moving towards a Republican, what do you think are some of the representations? I mean, you listed Rihanna. Do you think that we should have out there our countries in the Caribbean space, once they move towards that Republican journey, what are some of the things that they should be putting out? That the person can say, aha, I identify, I see myself as a space. Do you think that that's problematic?
Representation for me, I like the idea of representation because it is not static. It doesn't sit still. It's culture. It's like culture. It's always moving.
Yeah.
And how people see themselves is going to continue to change no matter what you do, because that's how life is. Life changes. So the Jamaica people don't identify with the original Amerindian anymore, or the crocodile, as you say, and they want to replace that with symbols that they think represent them now. And we've done that. It's happened in the Black Lives Matter movement in the States. Like, they're tired of the Confederate statues, so
I
it's
did
time
a podcast
to bring them
on
down.
That, episode 2, so go and check that out.
Yeah.
Rhodes Must Fall movement. That was huge down in Oxford.
Yes. And that is a continuing process with culture and with the movement of time and the movement of trends and symbols of representation of who you think you are. So
and there will always be that question: who are we as a people?
I think it keeps changing.
Yeah.
I think that there's the recognition of who you were, and you are continuously trying to define who you want to become. I love Michelle Obama's book, Becoming.
I've never read.
But the name in itself, it is continuous. It doesn't stop. You keep redefining yourself.
As I said, I can be all scholarly, and thanks to Dr. Barrows, and I would send her the link. But Stuart Hall says, in terms of identity, that antagonistic discourse will always have to happen.
Yes.
Identity, you can't have I don't want to say civil, but it always challenges you to rethink, and to regroup and go back. So once you find out a little piece of information, it pushes you further back, and you have to. And once you get to that point, you go back again. You go back, and you're always.
If there's the will.
Yeah,
because usually it depends on who we're talking about.
true.
You know, the average person in the street, what is their will?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they relate to maybe just what they see every day,
Mhm.
what they see when they look in the mirror. They want to see that projected on a bigger scale because that's what they identify with.
So we
But then-
spoke about identity. So in terms now of women movement, and this would have happened before. We've had a female governor general before.
What a movement of women. Yes, we've had Denita Barrow,
Yes.
who was the sister of the father of our independence, our
Right,
Barrow,
mhm.
our Walton Barrow, who incidentally we're celebrating his
His
day
birthday
tomorrow.
tomorrow, yeah.
Right? She is a well-loved symbol of you know, the movement of the woman, as you put it. But now we have this moment in our history where
Everything is
all
womanized.
of these women are converging,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow.
And that adds now to the identity construct. Let's bring you up to
Can
speed.
I ask a question right here?
Of course you can.
Is it fair to say, can I say that for us to really move forward as a people, women have to lead that movement?
Okay, wait. Let me sit back. Let me take a sip.
Let's take a sip together.
Let's take a sip.
Let's think about that.
The movements, we're talking about the women leading the movement.
Is it up to women? It seems as though women have taken hold of what our future will look like.
I think I'm gonna just ask a provocative question on your question. Is it that you've asked that question because women know what they want to do, but what about persons who have like-minded ideologies? Is it ideology versus feminism? Because if we're all human beings, do men have a different ideology than women?
You're getting real philosophical.
Yeah, because
and then you go into gender. You're going off on a whole other
yeah,
tangent.
because that question opens up.
I just want to be really practical right now and say we got a woman prime minister who is the bomb. She's a world leader. She's a world leader.
Very charismatic speaker.
And she has taken Barbados and the world by storm. And she has, in that movement, brought along her own touch. And part of that is her own brand of femininity. I find it interesting that coincidentally, and I do think it's coincidentally, we also had a governor general who's a woman transitioning now to our first president.
I think it's because our landscape and our identity has not had the presence of women that it has in these political spaces and offices, that it seems like we have to be like, okay, it seems alien to us.
So you think you get a sense that it was something pressed upon us, or it was organic?
I think it was organic because it wasn't like, oh my God, we really need a female prime minister this time.
There was nobody
saying there was no outcry, no public outcry for female presence. I mean, not saying that we're not taking away from the international female presence of women wanting to lead in offices, because if you look at not just home here, but in the United States politics, where we have Kamala Harris, if I say her name correctly,
Kamala Harris,
first female VP,
and
her husband is now the first male, first gentleman, so like we are now I don't want to say resistant, but reshaping with the movements, because these are things that are not, our palate is not accustomed to it. They're
gonna get accustomed to it, because I think in breaking these glass ceilings, we're not necessarily asking permission, and we're, as you said, there's not necessarily a resistance. It is kind of a understanding that this is a reshaping, and it's actually accepted at this moment. I think it's just so interesting.
Yeah,
how
because
that
as I said, I just wanted to bring everyone up to speed as it relates to the movement of women here in Barbados. We have a first opposition woman.
Our first, oh dear. Now, what she was called on the campaign trail was up for a lot of debate. Was she president? Was she supposed to be called the future leader of
the opposition?
The opposition. Was she supposed to be the future prime minister of her party? So she was up for debate in terms of what to call her and what she was being called and what that implied. But nevertheless, we had two women vying for power for the first time. You know, that's amazing.
It is.
And then watching on, we have a president. You know,
and we just added another female to our heroes list.
Oh yeah.
Because we had, before Rihanna was added, we had 10 national heroes.
Yeah.
9 men, 1 woman.
Yes.
Now we have
Sarah Angel.
9 men, 2 women.
She makes it 11.
She makes it 11.
And I mean, we all know what I mean. Look at this image in the back here. Now, this is not a new image, but it is ironic that it's almost the color of Rihanna's dress on the night that she accepted that she was supposed to be a new heroine. And we all know the hot conversation around her chest. Okay, we can't talk about Rihanna and what happened without talking about how people were obsessed with what they saw. Right. So yeah, her nipples were
a bone of contention, guys.
But should we have seen them? Should we not have seen them? I actually think that the fact that we have to debate that tells you we're at a different point. Because when I studied art history, I learned through European art.
Ironic.
This idea of bare-chestedness. And she wasn't bare-chested, but you know, you felt the presence of her chest. A bare-chested woman is a sign of liberty. And what higher honor could she have received from her homeland, right? So that's the ultimate in a symbol of liberty for us as Barbadians.
And for you as a woman too,
you know?
as well.
And she's bearing her chest. So, you know, wonderful. Kudos to her.
So in terms of Rihanna and her thing, we have to understand that humans are not one-dimensional, and again, it goes back to what we began. That whole identity construct forms how we think, shape. So it has that European thinking. Oh my God, does she really fit the structure of a hero?
What should a hero look like?
Exactly.
How old should a hero be?
Should a hero be alive or dead?
That was yes. Oh my gosh. But you know, I found that was so beautiful because we had the youngest living hero walking next to the oldest living hero. And it was just beautiful to see, because it's so historic. It's that we made history on so many levels. In 2021 and now in 2022, right?
Yeah, because I mean, power to the women, you know. But I, you all guys know I am a diehard Rihanna Navy fan. I mean, they could have given her the president, or even prime minister of Barbados, Republic of Barbados.
And people keep asking if she's gonna live up to this heavy weight that we put on her.
But then, what does that mean? Like, I mean, you have to understand.
They expect her to be larger than life now, so she has to live like this larger than life.
No.
That's the standard that some people have. You know?
Like, because a lot of persons were wondering what has she done to become, like crying down the arts. She's just an entertainer and stuff like that. But Rihanna has done so much.
An entertainer.
Yeah, that was.
My thing is, right, if you are not informed, just ask. Don't state. Ask.
I mean, Rihanna, it was a whole debate of her becoming a hero, herring. But Harvard, look at what Harvard did. Harvard honored her.
Actually,
And
you are her biggest fan. You should tell us all that Rihanna is right now.
Oh gosh, Rihanna is the best thing since sliced bread. But Rihanna has been awarded Icon Award at age 20 something, Vanguard this. I mean, these are awards that have been given to her by outsiders.
Yeah.
She's never been to Harvard, mind you, but was awarded for her humanitarian work.
She's never even been to university.
Exactly. And has been awarded. People see her worth
Yes.
outside of Umbrella and outside of
I
work.
heard something about her, you know, being very forceful with world leaders to get what she wants when it comes
Yes.
to charities and so
Yes.
on.
And in terms of what she wants in terms of education and healthcare, like her Clara,
She's a real advocate.
yes, like her foundation is not specific to a particular thing. So if you have
The one for her grandmother, though.
the one,
That's to do with
that's for that is not no.
That's not what her
It's not
grandmother-
specific. It's not specific. It's for education. It's for healthcare. It's for climate change.
Okay.
It's for
Clara
every
something.
Clara Lionel Foundation, her
Okay.
grandfather and grandmother.
Right.
So I mean, she has looked at everybody.
She does. She's so inclusive.
Yes.
For that reason alone, oh my gosh. I mean, to just make Victoria's Secret sit down,
Yeah. Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and just bring all these beautiful women, shapes, sizes, colors into the fold, into the view of the camera, fearlessly.
And give and
For that
empowering
reason
them,
alone.
empower them because you can tell, you can say a lot of women are not confident in their bodies.
Well, you know, that's just one of the unfortunate.
And if you look at the relationships between women in terms of how women interact, women don't have that good. I say this very loosely, that good relationship, like a good buddy. But you will never really find a lot of women who are saying, "Yeah, we've been friends for 10 years. We're really good friends."
Well, if you
Because
find
women
that,
are always
if you
competing or
find
put
that
against
really
each other.
special friend is wonderful, but we don't always find that special friend. But I would like to think that we can. But generally, yes, there's a lot of competition between
Yeah,
women.
and then Rihanna created that space.
And this constant desire to feel like we need to look this way and
Mhm.
to, you know, to be desirable in this way, and it's a lot of pressure.
It is. And I think she just shattered that pressure. Like she just deflates it. Like
You're
take
beautiful.
the air out of your tire.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, regardless of if you are a size 30 or a size 1.
You're beautiful.
Just come be on my show. Come work for Savage Fenty.
Yeah.
You know, so like I think our idea of what a hero should be dates back to who we were under. And that's why we
Who
have
we were under, growing up stupid under the Union Jack.
yes,
Remember
our
that?
educate.
Who wrote that?
I don't know.
That's a book.
Really don't know.
It is a defining book, though, and I mean it's self-explanatory. You hear what the conundrum was there, but we're coming out from under that, and you
Yeah.
said it so nicely because, yeah, off with the queen,
Yeah, gone with
out
the
with the
queen.
queen, gone.
Gone. GONQPT
Gone.
to the power of 3 multiplied square root, gone with the queen. Yeah, so like I mean it is fascinating to see where we're going and what is happening.
And exciting as well.
Yes.
Some people are afraid, but
That's fine.
yeah, because change is scary. It can be
Because you don't know.
Yes,
You don't know.
But I mean, we should feel comfort in the fact that I think we're being led safely. Let's put it that way. You know.
Mhm. I think and people say where there's no vision, the people will perish. And our leader does have a vision,
Oh,
not
yes.
for her, for people of her age group, for the younger generation. And again, using Rihanna's a young artist, and what I do here, I mean, we have like the What Going On show, we have Chantal, we have a lot of young creatives, and I think the creative entertainment industry in Barbados has now been given
Permission.
a different set of
Yeah.
eyes
Yeah.
and different little avenues
But we'll see, because it's always had to wait.
Yes.
Everything else went before creative industries.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. Even look at the pandemic. They're just asked people to get back out to work.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, as I said, we have a plethora of entertainers here. We have Paula and Chantel who do YouTube vlogs. You can guys check them out. We have Lord Zen. We have Seth XL. As I said, we have What Going On magazine. That's by Zinga, Empress Zinga, and her husband. We have so many people. We have Xtina, who's an artist, next to me.
And look, my phoenix is rising from the ashes in the form of a woman. And I mean, that means so many things. That means Verla will gather her ashes and she will rise again. And that's Verla de Pisa, no disrespect to her. I think she did a stellar job in holding on and bringing her party back together, almost single-handedly.
Yes, because we had that conversation where we were saying she defied a lot of odds. And, she's the first woman to lead the DLP. She had a lot of cleaning up to do. So it's like she had a lot to do on her plate while trying to, let me say this very quickly. I mean, very politically, while trying to prove herself. And I don't mean any disrespect in that, because not only do you have to lead a party, but you have to prove to the wider society, I am fit enough. Not discrediting her credibility or her ideologies, but you have to prove yourself, because this is the first time you're stepping into a new role, and we want to see, we want to see what you can do. And I think doing that, she did, as you said, stellar job, because I can't imagine her thought process of having to regroup and to lead a political party while still showing her worth.
Yeah.
And as you know, women have been fighting for equal rights at the table.
Yes.
We have, the US, the people with the adopting, women, if they can do abortions. The panel is 95% men, and men can't have abortions.
You mean that ugly, awful, backward debate that's going on in the US right now? That's not even a debate, because this thing has been law for 50 plus years, and they're trying to reverse and undo and hold on to women in a way and suppress women in a way that is so ugly and honestly such a fool's errand. I mean, really? But that is a generation that is phasing out, to be honest.
And it's because of women are now telling themselves, and because young girls can see our Prime Minister, can see Verla de Pisa, can see Rihanna, can see the Honorable Dame Sandra Mason in these high office. Because if you look at the business world, how many, Rihanna just became a billionaire. Like how many women billionaires, how many women in high offices
that are women of color as well. I mean, that's such an amazing achievement, and she hasn't even. I mean, she don't have a what do you call it? Oh my gosh! Oh, I forget. The lines at the side. They call
crow's feet.
Crow's feet. Yeah. She got crow's
what have you been drinking?
Like nothing, still perky in front here and everything, and she's
about what, 3 years above me?
Yeah,
3 years older than I am. I can't imagine the amount of success that she has amassed.
Yeah,
one can only dream. I'm going to share something to put things in perspective. I can remember where I was when I heard Pon de Replay by Rihanna, and I said that because I always thought that you could not have a life outside of Barbados. And here we have a 16-year-old in 2005 with Pon de Replay shattering my dreams of life outside of Barbados and seeing myself being marketable outside of Barbados. I always thought that persons of color, the tourists that came here in Barbados, were all from the outside world. Like, I assumed anybody that was outside of Barbados or outside of the Caribbean all knew each other. And I'm like, how did a Bajan, we are approximately, we're not even exact, 166 square miles. And Rihanna, Rihanna Fenty, is like the Beyonce, like these are people that we see on TV, on BET, on movies that we just see on
And she
TV
stepped off of this lovely, beautiful rock we call BIM and stepped onto the world stage.
and
But
made it.
She is a definitely once in a
Fine, yeah.
lifetime achievement for a young girl
Mm.
from a small island who most people didn't even know what Barbados is. They only think of Jamaica
Yeah.
when they think of the Caribbean. Are you from Jamaica? Everybody's from Jamaica. Well, now people know about Barbados.
Yeah, exactly.
So Rihanna has brought Barbados to the world. Me
Quite
and Molly
much,
has brought
Because we were
Barbados
on
to
on
the world.
MSNBC, we were on Good Morning Australia, and that was so fascinating to watch. Like, Good Morning Australia, can you believe a small country? And they did not mean anything by it, because if you Google who is still under the Queen, Australia and Canada are linguistics. They are still under the Queen, and they are way bigger than us.
Way bigger.
Way bigger. Like we are not even a drop
But guess
in
what?
their water.
Rihanna was following a lane that we take here in Barbados, in this country. Maybe you were not aware of it, but you have come to see that. I think it was Barrow that said that we are a country that punches above our weight.
Mm-hmm.
And our people clearly internalize that.
Yeah.
Now, the majority of us are not gonna become Rihannas, but we all have so much talent here.
Yes.
I mean, just watch what you saw on display in all the different forms of social media, of live performances that Barbados had to offer. And I mean, through the years, I mean, there's so much
something
talent.
as simple as looking at the memes and like Akhenaten Barrows, who's an actor here, they're so creative.
Listen, this election that has just concluded alone, I feel like I said this today. These songs were so good for the candidates.
Mm-hmm.
These songs, they should compile these campaign songs on an album.
Yeah.
For posterity, because that's another thing, and that's another topic for another time, Damien. The way we record
our thing, our preservation, how we preserve. Like, I mean,
who we are.
I mean, like, listen.
We're not great at documenting.
No,
we need to really.
And I was
why people like you are so important.
Yes.
I mean, this is important work, Damien.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, my buddy, and my love.
Like, I was listening to Beijing Bus Stop Afro Pregno.
Yeah.
I love those things, and you guys can check it out. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
That's that.
He still makes me laugh.
And I mean, I was telling Dr. Barrows that I have a little disconnect of some of the things he was saying, but I have an appreciation, and I feel good to know that this was part of who I am. This is part of my identity construct as a Barbadian, because I always ask myself, what does it mean to be Barbadian? And I think that's one of the most difficult questions. But it's coming a little bit easier because I can see, and it's not because I've done my master's, but if I can look around and I can see bits and pieces of representations of me.
Yeah, because it must be something that you live and feel and breathe,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That you know who you are as you step through the world every day.
Yeah.
And
I think Rihanna knows who she is as a Barbadian right now.
It.
So hats off.
And she's rep us hard.
Very, very. So we've done a lot. Heavy stuff. We looked at identity constructs. We looked at us becoming a republic, what we thought about that. We looked at women and the importance of women movements. We looked at Rihanna becoming our 11th and second female heroine.
We looked at the whole movement of the female in this moment in our history, on so many levels.
Yeah, so it's a lot of food for thought, guys. I think this is going to be a chatty podcast. Blow up the descriptions, the comments below, because tell us what you guys think. I like that. Tell us, guys. Tell us what you think about resisting the whole construct of the Queen, and should other countries, and that's a question to the viewers and listeners, should Canada, should Australia, should other Caribbean countries
But we
follow
started
suit?
a conversation.
Yeah.
We have started a conversation in the Caribbean, Jamaica.
Yeah.
You know,
They've just added heroes, actually.
Yeah.
They've added Bob Marley.
They copied us. They said, okay, so they're bigging up Rihanna. Long time we have Bob Marley here that they want Rihanna. It's about time. Who are we waiting for? Louise
Bennett. So they did Bob Marley, Louise Bennett, and I stand corrected, but I also believe they did Usain Bolt as well.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So
we're game changers, aren't we?
We are. We are. I mean, look at what Rihanna did. Shattered the whole beauty and lingerie line.
And look at what our powerful women leaders are doing.
And there's more to come, because they may finish yet. They may finish yet.
Rihanna just begun.
No, that I want to ask a question to Rihanna, Robin Rihanna Fenty, if you're listening and watching this podcast. When you can release the album?
Oh my God, I was having that conversation only yesterday. She got us begging for the next
music,
album.
Please, God.
Where is it?
Where have you been all my life? So on that note, guys, it has been a pleasure with my co-host Xtina on SipHappens podcast. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you, Christina, for coming through.
Thank you so much.
Follow Dema_246. You know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Download, share. Tell us what you guys think. Don't keep this information to yourself. Don't be selfish.
Keep it to yourself. Don't
be selfish.
Nah. We like this.
Let me move the thing, because I can't see myself. Let me move my mic closer. Can we sing some of our national anthem as we go? I mean, in plenty and in time of need, when the was young. That's SipHappens. We have been.
You know?
SipHappens. We did that for Ifat. I should have had the mic like this the whole entire time. This is cool. Yeah. But guys, continue to sip. Peace out.